Asa's eyes widen in shock. She simply cannot believe the horrifying scene unfolding before her. A mysterious adversary wearing a grotesque mask approaches, the sound of heavy footsteps echoing with a menacing tone. Beneath the old tree, their comrades have fallen, their blood staining the land red. Asa recoils in terror, while Tenjin frantically gathers the important papers, his face etched with deep anxiety. Tenjin grips the item tightly, determined not to let it fall into the hands of the enemy. A strange blue glint flashes in Asa's eyes as she begins to channel all of her energy. Asa suddenly lunges forward and snatches the item from Tenjin's hand, leaving him completely stunned. Tenjin shouts in an attempt to stop her, deeply worried for Asa's safety in this precarious situation. The enemy lets out a raspy, guttural laugh, a deathly aura radiating from beneath the mask. Without a moment's hesitation, the opponent charges straight toward Asa with terrifying speed. Darkness descends, and a question about great power echoes through the void. Asa gathers all her remaining strength, activating her skills to fight off the malicious foes. A blinding light bursts from Asa's weapon, creating a powerful shockwave. The energy explosion tears through the space, obliterating everything in its path. The story began 8 centuries ago when a star fell upon this world. The collision caused a catastrophic tremor, forever changing the destiny of this land. Glowing shards illuminated the horizon, embedding themselves deep into the earth. A rare mineral known as econium was unearthed, ushering in a new era. The changes were swift, bringing with them both unprecedented opportunities and unfathomable dangers. The people constructed pipelines to channel the energy of econium to power their machinery. It didn't stop there. Humanity also discovered how to tap into the potential power lying dormant within themselves. Loved ones joyfully brought gifts to celebrate the birthdays of Asa and Inuta. They practiced together, testing their progress through energy-infused tops. Asa is full of excitement, determined not to be outdone in this year's competition. A mysterious source of power begins to swirl within the palm of Asa's hand. Vibrant energy vortexes begin to wrap around her hands. Asa beams with a radiant smile as she feels the surging power flowing through her. Asa urges Tenjin to hurry so they can catch their transport to the capital. Asa excitedly points into the distance where a massive ship awaits them. Finally, they are about to step foot in the capital where new horizons are waiting to be explored. Asa's dream of joining the 10 Pillars is finally about to come true. Before they could even celebrate, Asa trips and falls flat on her face, causing Tenjin to panic as he rushes to help her. Asa's empty stomach begins to growl. Tenjin can only sigh, realizing they forgot to pack provisions for the journey. In the distance, the porters are gleefully gossiping about the feast their leader just distributed. The injustice of their labor makes these men grumble endlessly about why they have to worry about food for everyone else. One of them suddenly shouts loudly, cutting off the meaningless complaints. At that exact moment, Asa lunges toward the porters like a whirlwind, striking sheer terror into their hearts. The porters run for their lives in a panic, mistaking Asa for a ferocious wild boar hunting them down. Asa, looking absolutely thrilled, doesn't forget to tease them while chasing them down. The porters run headlong, desperately trying to protect the cargo on their shoulders. Asa lunges forward with breathtaking speed, while Tenjin struggles to keep up, filled with anxiety. Tenjin shouts at Asa to restrain herself, but she is completely blinded by her overwhelming hunger. Asa disregards everything else, fixated solely on the scattered pile of food. After the chase, Asa sits down to eat nonchalantly, ignoring Tenjin's complaints about them being lost again. A close-up of Asa's satisfied expression as she devours a piece of fried chicken. Asa keeps sniffing around, searching for further traces of food in the forest. Suddenly, Asa cheers with excitement as she finds their path, guided by her keen sense of smell. Tenjin can only sigh and remind Asa to use her brain instead of her empty stomach to navigate. Asa gives a confident thumbs up, asserting that she knows exactly where they are going. Tenjin heaves a weary sigh, feeling helpless against Asa's reckless, carefree nature. A bird, startled, flies up from the cliffside, signaling that trouble is brewing. Asa and Tenjin plummet from above, creating a scene of complete chaos. Both collide heavily with the trees before Asa lands spectacularly on a pile of crates. Upon landing, Asa squeals with delight at the sight of fried chicken, leaving Tenjin screaming in despair. They accidentally fall into the clutches of a group of aggressive strangers. Tenjin cautiously inspects an item found in the crate, his intuition warning him of impending danger. Asa naively asks about the feast, while Tenjin realizes they have stepped into a major mess. One of the thugs shouts, warning his cohorts that it's just Asa and Tenjin. The order to attack is given, and the angry mob rushes to surround Asa and Tenjin. Faced with a life-or-death situation, Asa panics and hurriedly returns the chicken piece to them. Asa delivers a powerful slash, her blade cutting through the air with lethal precision. Her opponent is stunned by her agility. Unfazed, Asa maintains a confident smile. She nonchalantly mentions chicken bone soup, a simple meal that acts as a lifeline when there's nothing else to eat. Asa's words enrage her opponent. He screams in fury, unable to believe her baffling optimism in such a dire situation. Losing his patience, the opponent stomps on the ground, ordering his men to surround Asa and Tenjin immediately. One of the thugs rushes forward with terrifying speed, his blade gleaming with cold bloodlust. Asa becomes instantly vigilant, her eyes scanning the surroundings to find a gap in the enemy's formation. Asa's gaze sharpens as the enemy's blade comes right before her eyes. Her reflexes have reached their limit. In a split second, Asa leaps high into the air, skillfully dodging the lethal attack from below. Mid-air, Asa mischievously winks at the enemy, a provocative gesture that infuriates him even further. The enemy roars, his face twisting with rage. He cannot stand being belittled by Asa. Two opponents charge in simultaneously, determined to finish Asa off with relentless attacks. Asa doesn't flinch, she spins around and unleashes a powerful counter, knocking the enemy's blade aside. Asa's fist lands squarely on the enemy's face, the sharp sound of impact leaves him dazed. With a powerful kick, Asa sends the enemy flying, ending the assault with absolute dominance. The enemy collapses at Asa's feet while the others can only watch in sheer terror. Asa suddenly stops, a panicked expression on her face as she discovers her shoe has been ruined in the fight. The thugs still refuse to give up, shouting and demanding to surround them. Asa remains unbothered, using sarcastic remarks to taunt them. A thunderous punch from Tenjin takes down a thug, silencing his noise instantly. Asa continues her sweep, her strikes leave the crowd of enemies scattered in the blink of an eye. Tenjin anxiously checks his watch, urging Asa to finish off the crowd quickly so they can make it to the train on time. A boss emerges, surrounded by a menacing purple aura that makes his underlings tremble at his feet. The boss grumbles about being woken from his deep slumber, his eyes filled with murderous intent as he glares at Asa and Tenjin. The boss can't believe he's being bothered over something as trivial as Asa and Tenjin's meal. The boss roars in fury, clenching his fists as if to crush everything in his sight. Asa maintains her composure, offering to share her food as a sarcastically conciliatory gesture. The boss orders his underlings to charge, determined not to let Asa and Tenjin escape. Asa smiles brightly and launches a counterattack against the rushing foes, showing no fear of the boss. A surge of powerful energy erupts, creating a shockwave that makes the very air tremble. Tenjin skillfully dodges the enemy's attacks while maintaining his calm demeanor. The boss lunges straight at Asa, blocking her path with overwhelming killing intent. The real battle has only just begun. Asa gets grabbed by the head by her opponent. The situation is dire. A heavy blow from above causes the ground to crack, pinning Asa down completely. The opponent looks surprised that Asa hasn't collapsed yet. In this moment of being cornered, Asa's eyes flare up with killing intent. Asa lets out a scream, unleashing a burst of power that forces her opponent to recoil. Seizing the opening, Asa delivers a powerful spinning kick that sends her opponent flying. Asa quickly regains her stance, weapon ready, prepared for the next counterattack. Meanwhile, Asa remains highly focused, observing every movement around her. Tenjin watches the situation with a tense expression. Tenjin activates a strange device, a clicking sound signaling that the plan has begun. Tenjin warns Asa not to take on the crowd all by herself. Asa fires back defiantly, telling Tenjin to join the fight instead of sitting on the sidelines. A thick cloud of smoke engulfs the battlefield as Tenjin insists that fighting isn't the only way to survive. Dust and smoke obscure their vision, causing both Tenjin and Asa to cough uncontrollably from the ploy. The crowd surrounds them, and Tenjin complains about the opponent's unfair fighting tactics. Asa is pinned down in the smoke, her eyes revealing clear anxiety. Deep in the forest, mysterious figures are rushing to transport cargo. Asa is knocked to the ground, with Tenjin sitting right beside her as a captive. The opponent threatens them while Asa still tries to explain that this is all just a misunderstanding. Asa is heartbroken to see her boots ruined, while Tenjin urges her to leave quickly. Asa is stunned to hear Tenjin say the next train isn't for another 2 years. Tenjin calmly advises Asa not to rush headlong into meaningless battles. Two sit down on the ground, a heavy silence settling in after the conflicts. Asa tries to act tough, insisting she is still fine. Asa smiles brightly, teasing Tenjin for worrying that she would abandon him. Tenjin admits that Asa had guessed his thoughts correctly. Suddenly, Asa dives down like a drill, causing the opponent to panic. Asa's strike hits a hard layer, and she wonders if she just stabbed into a diamond. A mysterious girl appears, remarking that Asa hasn't harvested any treasure at all. Deep in the dense forest, a group of people is busy loading heavy wooden crates onto a carriage. They have no idea they are being watched. Suddenly, Marie is blindsided by a surprise attack from behind. A lethal bite is aimed straight for her head. Marie is pinned down under her attacker. With no other choice, she desperately begs for mercy. Under pressure, Marie is forced to apologize. Immediately, a thunderous kick from her opponent sends her flying backward. The apology echoes through the air, a reluctant concession following a heated clash. Fingers clenched tightly, the sound of friction echoing as Marie accepts the pardon from her opponent. Not stopping there, a powerful punch is unleashed, evening the score between Marie and her opponent. Tension reaches a breaking point as Marie and her opponent face off, challenging each other to a ruthless battle. A cloud of dust erupts as Marie and her opponent clash. Yu Young can only sigh in exasperation at the chaotic scene unfolding before him. After the brawl, the question of an escape route arises. Marie collapses to the ground, completely exhausted. Marie's eyes suddenly light up when she spots a strange object protruding from the ground. Marie approaches, a knowing smile playing on her lips as she eyes the small item waiting to be pulled out. A terrified scream rings out just as Marie reaches for it. A desperate intervention from her teammate stops her in her tracks. The mechanism clicks dryly. It's already too late. A blast rocks the area, shaking the very ground beneath them. Overwhelming power obliterates everything in sight. A violent shockwave sends those nearby stumbling, screaming in a panic. Yu Young hurriedly catches his teammate, his eyes wide with horror as he stares toward the source of the explosion. Blazing red energy beams fire off continuously, tearing through everything in their path. Tardy regret flashes through the mind of the one who triggered the disaster. Powerful impact sends Daki flying straight into Marie's face. Both of them collapse, dazed by the sudden collision. Suspicion fills the air as they struggle to identify the object that just attacked them. A pillar of roaring energy shoots straight into the sky. Marie gasps, bracing herself as the surge of power rains down upon her. In a fit of rage, Marie grabs Daki and vents all her frustration on the tiny device. A frustrated stomp ends the chain of chaotic events. Marie holds Daki out before her, her face glowing with absolute delight. Finally, the objective has been found. Marie holds Daki high in triumph, ignoring her teammates' confusion. Marie beams with excitement, her eyes sparkling as if she has just found the most precious treasure. Her hand darts out, snatching the object lying hidden within the weeds. Sung Jinwoo snaps his head around, his irritated gaze urging his teammates to leave quickly and end this long, exhausting day. The group flees in a panic while Marie continues to praise her unique companion. Fueled by insatiable curiosity, Marie excitedly asks about the origins and true capabilities of the item. Marie snaps back immediately, firmly asserting that it is not a toy to be played with carelessly. Marie's gaze softens with emotion, she cherishes the tiny device as if it were the only remnant of the past. Marie's eyes shine with understanding, sensing the hidden sorrow deep within her teammate's heart. Marie and Sung Jinwoo stand silently side by side, gripping hands as a promise to stay together in a world full of uncertainty. Sympathizing with that sentiment, the supporting character gently pats Marie on the shoulder as a gesture of sincere comfort. Marie wears a radiant smile, not forgetting to offer words of praise for her companion's kindness. Caught off guard by the compliment, the side character couldn't hide their shyness, their cheeks flushing a deep, flustered red. Marie laughed out loud, slapping the side character on the back as if their friendship had just reached a new level of camaraderie. The group stared at the boat far off in the distance, unable to shake their anxiety over the immense gap they had to overcome. The side character bent down to pick up the scattered parts, completely clueless about the craft of an artisan. Marie couldn't help but be astonished by the side character's naivety, her eyes widening in disbelief. With a tone of immense pride, Marie loudly explained the importance of ecocraft in this world. Yu Young held his head and sighed wearily, wondering why he hadn't taught the side character these basics sooner. While running, Marie continued to ramble on about how ecocraft technology operates. Excitedly, Marie unleashed a new ultimate move, which she called Baby Boom. A terrifying explosion erupted, leaving the whole group horrified by its sheer destructive power. Marie flashed a confident smile, promising that the next attack would be even more impressive. The power surged once again, with flames illuminating the space behind Marie. Yu Young and the rest of the group panicked and fled, overwhelmed by Marie's reckless enthusiasm. The group stood stunned, realizing they had to act immediately to catch up to the boat. Looking at how far the boat had drifted, the group couldn't help but worry about how they would ever reach it. Marie urged Yu Young to quickly grab the rope so she could execute her plan. Marie's hands moved nimbly, tying knots in the ropes as she prepared for the decisive move. With a mysterious smile, Marie told everyone to get ready to strap themselves in. The group was tied tightly to the ropes, and Marie began to pull hard, preparing for the final step of her rescue mission. Marie put all her strength into it, her muscles tensed as she tightened the rope, determined to carry out her bold rescue plan. Marie lay flat on the large bag, shouting to her teammates that everything was ready to go. Marie looked straight at the side character, her eyes filled with implications as if plotting something reckless. A confident smile graced Marie's lips as she suggested that the side character be the one to operate the lever this time. The side character appeared overly excited, while Gu Yun looked shell-shocked, as if he had just realized the madness in that request. A sharp click echoed, and the side character placed their hand on the lever, triggering the dangerous mechanism. A violent explosion erupted right beneath their feet, the terrifying force launching the whole group into the air. The pressure from the explosion propelled Marie and her teammates skyward, plunging them into a thick cloud of dust and smoke. Panic took hold as the group realized they had lost all control, their frantic screams echoing through the air. Looking down from above, the tiny boat was speeding across the sea, leaving a long wake behind it. Marie lost her balance, swaying in midair while the rope remained tightly wound around her body. Extreme fear was written all over the faces of the side character and Gyu Young as they realized death was imminent. In a split-second do-or-die moment, Gyu Young reached out, shouting for the side character to grab his hand. Gyu Young gripped the side character's hand firmly, reassuring them that he would handle the situation. The side character decided to use the flow of magic, attempting to redirect the energy to save them from their freefall. A surge of blue light erupted violently, and the side character's magic began to warp the space around them. Despite their best efforts, the group was still surrounded by black lightning, and their plans seemed to have failed. Marie suddenly spotted a target ahead, her eyes lighting up with a final glimmer of hope. Marie pointed toward the trash chute, convinced that it was their only chance for survival. Marie pulled something out of her spatial bag, a mischievous smirk appearing on her face. A blinding light appeared, signaling an unexpected turn in their plan. Marie summons Daki. The tiny mechanical device now becomes a lifeline for the entire team. Daki activates, its glowing red eyes flashing as it readies itself for maximum acceleration mode. Marie slams her hand down on the activation button, forcing Daki to operate at full capacity. The mechanical device begins spinning at a dizzying speed, generating a powerful gust of wind that propels the group forward. Riding the device, Marie steers it straight toward their objective. The roar of the engine echoes as the device slams into the garbage chute with tremendous impact. Dragged along by the device's trajectory, the group screams in astonishment as they realize they are about to crash headlong into the chute. A blinding white light engulfs their vision as the group races for the fateful collision. Finally, they successfully tumble into the pile of trash below, narrowly escaping the perilous fall. Violent impact tears through the space, sending shards of debris flying in a chaotic frenzy. A machine tears through the water surface at breakneck speed, charging straight ahead. Asa and Tenjin are struggling on the ground, while Yellowy, Togi, and Jibwa are in hot pursuit. Without mercy, Yellowy delivers a slap that stuns Asa, determined not to let her steal the precious item. The brawl turns chaotic. Asa is pinned down, while Jibwa holds tight to the important object. Yellowy maintains her focus, her eyes filled with unwavering determination. Asa quickly regains the initiative, not hesitating to confront Jibwa directly to demand the component back. Tension reaches its peak as Asa and Jibwa grapple fiercely, neither willing to give an inch. Both sides are trembling under the pressure, refusing to yield in this tug-of-war. Trading sarcastic remarks, Asa and Jibwa do not hold back from provoking one another. Exploding with anger, Asa declares firmly that she doesn't care about their games. A cracking sound echoes, the precious item has been severely damaged. Asa screams in shock as she witnesses the scene before her. The scuffle worsens and chaos consumes everyone. In the nick of time, Asa pulls out a repair tool, deciding to fix the malfunction herself. Sparks fly as Asa focuses intensely on patching up the shattered component. The arguing continues, but everyone's attention is fixed on Asa's skillful hands. Jibwa asserts that this place is no playground for children but an arena for dreamers. With the component repaired, Jibwa believes their true journey begins right here. Excitement surges, they believe this is their ticket to escape this place. The device is activated, emitting a brilliant light that leaves everyone in awe. Asa and her friends cannot help but marvel at the incredible power that has just manifested. After 6 long months, they finally have the capacity to overthrow the gatekeeper. Burning with a desire for freedom, they are ready to break their chains. Asa puts her full trust in them. Though she doesn't understand all the concepts, she can feel their sincerity. Jibwa affirms that a nomad must have big dreams and pursue them with their whole heart. Even though the road ahead is thorny, they are determined to seize their own destiny. Togi introduces himself and his teammates, establishing a hopeful new alliance. Asa responds confidently, asserting that her name will resonate throughout the history of the nomads. Tension escalates, the eyes of Asa and her comrades gleam with intense determination. Chaos erupts as Jibwa gets stuck while the others scramble to seize the precious item. Yellowy scolds Jibwa irritably for breaking the equipment, while Jibwa can only cry in innocence. Togi reminds Jibwa that time is running out, they must quickly prepare for the upcoming battle. The group moves hurriedly, with Tenjin leading the way while Asa and Yellowy follow closely toward the upper floor. The crowd pushes through the dark basement area, with noise echoing everywhere. Asa and Togi have reached the rendezvous point, everything is starting exactly as planned. Togi directs the group toward the central pillar, where the guards are waiting. The group parts ways with well wishes, promising to reunite once they have all achieved their goals. Asa confidently approaches the guards, requesting access to the upper floor for an important meeting. The guard responds with a sarcastic tone, demanding that Asa produce her ticket for inspection. After verifying the tickets, the guard allows Asa to enter while she jumps for joy and excitement. Asa turns back and cheers to Tenjin, declaring that they have finally succeeded. Suddenly, a cold command rings out, causing Asa to freeze in her tracks. Yahello cannot keep her cool, she shouts, questioning the guard about this injustice. The guard roughly pushes Yahello away, asserting that those from the lower levels have no right to ascend. Furious, Asa lunges forward, gripping the guard's arm and demanding that he let Yahello in. Tensions reach a breaking point as Asa refuses to let go, confronting the guard head-on. The guard remains arrogant, questioning the authenticity of the tickets the group possesses. Asa cannot contain her rage, so Tenjin must intervene to keep her calm. A piercing scream rings out, and Asa realizes it is Jibwa's voice. Asa rushes toward the sound, sensing that something terrible is happening. A loud crash echoes as Jibwa's belongings are smashed to pieces on the ground. Mandiak stands tall, threatening to finish off anyone who dares to resist. Asa is stunned by the scene before her, her eyes wide with shock. Asa slams her hand onto the table, demanding that everyone stop this violence immediately. The guard sneers, claiming that this is a world where the strong eat the weak and those who are slow lose everything. Asa glares at the guard, the cold aura emanating from her gaze makes the air feel frozen. The overwhelming pressure from Asa makes the two guards tremble, cold sweat streaming down their foreheads. The guard tries to regain his composure, threatening Asa that she is making an enemy of the Cook family. Without a moment's hesitation, Asa throws a powerful punch, landing it square on her opponent's face and knocking him down instantly. A dull thud of impact echoes as Asa's opponent falls, leaving those around them in terror. The cold gaze, Asa growls, demanding that the defeated foe reveal the identity of Mandiak. Asa's blue eyes burn with determination, she will not accept anything but the truth. The atmosphere is extremely tense as a powerful roar erupts from the opposite side. Mandiak appears with a menacing presence, roaring in anger in the middle of the battlefield. Mandiak raises his fist high, his overwhelming aura leaving everyone present stunned. Mandiak mocks the previously defeated guard with a sneer, while the crowd begins to whisper in fear. A terrifying silence blankets the space, signaling that a new wave of attacks is about to begin. Mandiak screams in a frenzy, the pressure from him making the air feel frozen solid. Mandiak points directly at Asa's group, growling a challenge that they have entered his territory. Unflinching, Asa responds with a firm declaration, ready for an uncompromising confrontation. Mandiak laughs maniacally, he completely disregards Asa's threat. Mandiak's laughter echoes everywhere, mocking Asa's naivety. Mandiak grips his weapon tightly, preparing to strike a finishing blow into the ground. The powerful impact shakes the entire arena as Mandiak ridicules Asa's plans. Mandiak continues to spit vitriol, belittling Asa's status to the lowest level. Tenjin places his hand on Asa's shoulder, reminding her of her noble goal and the path ahead. Asa clutches the ticket in her hand, her eyes filled with deep thought at Tenjin's question. Indignation flares within Asa, she cannot accept the injustice that Mandiak is inflicting. Asa questions herself, determined to prove to Mandiak just how wrong he really is. Asa nodded, fully grasping what needed to be done to confront Mandiak. Together with Tenjin, Asa is determined to stand up and prove her worth. Tenjin kindly asks Alton and Asa if they have managed to make a wish for their birthday yet. Asa excitedly reveals her burning desire to master Echo and become the greatest traveler to explore this world. Asa rushes off and urges Alton to hurry up so they wouldn't be late, but Alton seems quite uninterested in the dull Kokoran festival. Despite Alton's indifference, Asa never forgets to remind him that the opening ceremony of the 4 tribes is the most spectacular part. Alton can only sigh in frustration at Asa's excessive enthusiasm. Without hesitation, Asa demands that Alton help her climb the tree to get a better view. Though Alton reluctantly agrees, he still grumbles about Asa having to carry him next time. Alton places his firm hand on Asa's leg, providing the momentum to push her up the ancient tree trunk. In a blink of an eye, Asa grips the branch firmly and shoots a triumphant smile down at Alton waiting below. Asa carefully reaches out, urging Alton to climb up quickly so they can admire the scene below together. Alton and Asa cheer with excitement as they see the crowd gathering at the festival. The Kokoran festival appears vibrant with colorful flags, drawing countless people from all over. Dancers from the Tarun tribe gracefully step onto the stage, bringing a spring-filled festive atmosphere. Not only the dancers, but the Snowyaks of the Kiva tribe are also brought in, creating an unforgettable buzz. Suddenly, Alton and Asa's eyes are drawn to the appearance of Tenjin moving through the crowd. Tenjin is talking to a stranger, but it is the stranger's unique attire that catches Asa and Alton's attention. Asa's eyes light up, she cannot hide her astonishment at this unexpected appearance. Alton and Asa whisper to each other, realizing that this is the sign of someone searching for candidates for the position of the holder. Asa can hardly believe her eyes, trembling with excitement, while Alton also fails to hide his shock. Asa decides that they must get down immediately to get closer, not wanting to miss this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Guest accompanying Tenjin is said to be a noble religious figure who is looking for the strongest candidates to represent the 10 great tribes. Powerful silhouettes emerge, representing the potential candidates being scouted. Asa firmly tells Alton that this is their chance to be chosen and begin their journey to explore the vast world. Alton and Asa resolve to win the games so that no one can deny their eligibility as candidates. A tribe member suddenly appears, mocking their chances of victory with a disdainful expression. The tribe member shoves Asa to the ground, leaving her caught off guard by the surprise attack. The tribe member and his cohorts laugh, hurling malicious insults about how Asa and Alton are not worth standing in the same ranks. The scene of Asa being humiliated unfolds clearly, making the atmosphere extremely tense. Alton quickly helps Asa stand up. Alton and Asa glare at the tribe member with burning resentment. The tribe member doesn't stop, continuing to humiliate them by bringing up their failure last year like an indelible scar. Facing the taunts, Alton maintains a calm and defiant demeanor. The tribe member suddenly reaches out, grabbing Alton's shoulder to stop him. Asa quickly intervenes, pulling Alton out of the tense situation to avoid unnecessary conflict. Asa does not forget to leave a provocative message, determined to prove their ability in the arena. A festive buzz fills the air as the trumpet sounds, signaling the official start of the Kokoran Games. The first round is a race to the highest peak on the mountain, and the contestants charge forward simultaneously. Alton and Asa lead the race, working together in harmony to make a breakthrough. Alton focuses intensely, taking steady, firm steps toward the cliffside. Alton and Asa begin to scale the sheer cliff. Their coordination becomes more crucial than ever. When Alton slips, Asa catches his hand just in time, pulling him to safety. As soon as they climb up, Alton and Asa are immediately confronted by the tribe member waiting for them. Asa yells for him to duck, and Alton reacts instantly to dodge a direct strike from the tribesman. Alton warns Asa about the danger looming from behind. Asa lands a decisive kick, knocking the tribesman out of the combat zone. Alton and Asa exchange a look of absolute trust, pledging to watch each other's backs in the fight. The losers plummet into the water below, leaving only the two best pairs to advance to the next round. Alton and Asa stand firm together, ready to face the challenges ahead. Beneath their feet, the ground cracks from the violent collisions, and the air turns deathly tense. Tenjin observes Alton and Asa from a distance, smiling with satisfaction at their progress. Tenjin proudly declares Alton and Asa to be the most outstanding talents of the tribe. The bond between Alton and Asa has been forged through years of hardship. Despite losing their parents early on, Alton and Asa have always been each other's strongest pillars of support. Tenjin reflects on the fates of those struggling to survive in this era filled with trials. The truth is revealed: Alton and Asa are twins with an incredibly special connection. Meanwhile, the villagers begin to whisper anxiously about the strange occurrences in the Sarka tribe. Rumors of missing people and stolen property in the forest have left everyone feeling uneasy. Doubts regarding the security outside the capital begin to stir in everyone's hearts. Tenjin reassures everyone that difficult times always forge the toughest people. Guards affirm the safety of the festival and vow that no threats will be allowed to interfere. The festival proceeds in a lively atmosphere, and Tenjin smiles, urging everyone to continue the celebration. In the starry night, an excited announcement echoes, promising spectacular performances by the Tsangpa tribe. The party kicks off under a sky full of light and drifting clouds. The crisp sound of clinking cups fills the air as wine is raised in toasts and celebration. At the blazing campfire, Asa stops an overly rowdy Tenjin, while everyone around them cheers and laughs. While the festival is in full swing, Alton and Asa find a private spot, intently drawing playful figures on the ground. Alton points to the sketches on the ground, curiously asking Asa if that is meant to be them. Asa laughs in reply, stating that she is capturing the moment of victory for Alton and Asa. Asa beams with pride that Alton and Asa made it through the semifinals, believing they have truly impressed Tenjin. Alton wonders aloud to Asa about the desire to take on great responsibilities, questioning if it might be too heavy a burden for them. Asa brushes off Alton's worries, asserting that they will share every hardship together, leaving Alton quite surprised. Asa continues to dream of the great things they can achieve, while Alton can only smile at her optimism. Alton reflects thoughtfully, expressing contentment with their simple current life where their biggest worries are trivial. But Alton suddenly pauses, realizing that this quiet life was never meant for someone as ambitious as Asa. A gentle smile appears on Alton's face as he looks toward Asa. Alton grins, declaring that a good brother must always support his sister's dreams. Asa breaks into a mischievous smile, feeling incredibly happy for Alton's support. Asa cheers with excitement, ready to face new challenges at Narunur with Alton. Darkness envelopes the forest, bringing with it a chilling, eerie silence. The tribesman is patrolling the forest, unable to hide his weariness as he questions why he was given this duty. The tribesman remains blindly confident that the area is safe until a sudden cold chill appears right behind him. Before he can even react, a lethal slash from the shadows finishes off the tribesman on the spot. The tribe member's eyes widened, gasping out a final, desperate plea for his mother with his last dying breath. Strangers wearing demonic masks stood tall, looking down coldly at the tribe member collapsing at their feet. One of the strangers whispered a promise that the tribe member's death would not be in vain. The tribe member's body slowly sank into the crimson darkness, completely overwhelmed. Murderous aura surged forth as the leader declared the start of the bloody hunt. Alton and Poji are facing a daunting challenge. Poji is brimming with determination to prove his worth while Alton remains calm and composed. Alton reiterates the plan, gently tossing a small pebble into the air, kicking off the training session. Poji doesn't flinch, confidently asserting that he has mastered the echo control technique and is ready to seize the target. Alton orders Poji to release the floater into the echo current, a crucial step in manipulating energy. Poji focuses intensely, spinning his umbrella and summoning energy to encircle and capture the pebble. Alton instructs Poji to tag the pebble with an anchor and pull it toward him. Poji smirks, fully confident in his own skills. Poji closes his eyes to sense the flow. His eyes flare up as he activates the skill, and the pebble begins to vibrate in rhythm with the echo. A shout rings out as Poji pours all his strength into the umbrella, striving to command the pebble to fly toward him. The pebble tears through the air, leaving a brilliant trail of energy behind, a testament to the power of the newly activated skill. The collision creates sparks while Poji struggles to maintain control over the energy current. A sharp, dry sound echoes as the pebble falls to the ground. Poji is momentarily flustered by the lackluster result. Alton smiles, never missing an opportunity to tease Poji about his still unrefined skills. Poji defensively retorts, insisting that the pebble did move. Alton crosses his arms, sternly reminding Poji that he needs to perceive the echo on a deeper level. Alton points to the tassels on the umbrella, emphasizing the core difference between a wind current and an echo current. Alton draws his sword, explaining that the direction of the wind is never the same as the echo current, a vital lesson. Alton's blade ignites with a brilliant light, carving powerful arcs into the air. Echo energy surges throughout the space, covering everything, proving its invisible yet powerful presence. Poji closes his eyes, attempting to merge with the ever-shifting echo current, which twists and turns like an endless river. Every path begins at a single point, then branches out, yet ultimately merges back into the grand flow of the echo. Alton's eyes light up. He has found his target. The tip of his sword gently points straight at the necessary energy stream. Chaotic echo current reveals itself. Alton explains how floaters move along the flow while anchors remain stationary. Alton grips the energy in his hand, explaining the ability to instantly teleport anything tagged with an anchor. The pebble appears right on Alton's chest, a breathtaking spatial jump that leaves Poji stunned. Alton quickly transfers the pebble to his other hand, finishing his masterful display of technique. Alton tells Poji to patiently wait for the signal while he walks away nonchalantly. Poji laments his inability to sense the echo while the two of them walk out of the room. Alton doesn't forget to look back and tease Poji, claiming that Poji is just off daydreaming instead of practicing seriously. Poji gets fired up from being teased, while Alton hurries him along, fearing they will be late. River wins under the sunlight, where the Kokoran finals await the challengers. The Kokoran finals officially begin with strict team-based competition rules. Poji and his teammate are ready, their eyes filled with determination to fight for glory. The referee's announcement rings out, signaling the end for the challengers. Poji doesn't hesitate, swinging his leather whip to create powerful curves in the air. Alton rushes forward, his sword parting the water as he prepares for a lightning-fast strike. Poji's powerful kick sends the ball flying, creating intense water vortexes. A sharp collision sound echoes. Alton leaps, determined to block Poji's ball path. High-speed running on the water's surface creates continuous wakes. Alton launches himself into the air, seizing control of the ball right within his reach. Alton's eyes blaze, he has found the target that needs to be tagged. Shitstain charges forward to intercept, never forgetting to hurl arrogant provocations. Poji sneered, retaliating with a furious water-based attack. Alton didn't flinch, he moved gracefully across the rocks, dodging the assault from Shitstain. A massive surge of water rushed forward, sending Alton reeling mid-air. Shitstain gritted his teeth, infuriated that his attack hadn't yielded the desired result. The failure of the move only fueled Shitstain's rage, and he became determined not to let Alton out of his sight. The chase over the water surface intensified as a barrage of attacks was unleashed. Alton mocked Poji, ridiculing his lack of progress over the past year. With his umbrella spinning, Alton challenged Poji with absolute confidence. Alton lunged decisively, determined to end this confrontation with a fatal blow. Poji was stunned by Alton's speed, caught off guard by the sudden strike. The powerful lash from the umbrella descended, sending Poji flying from his position. Alton quickly closed the distance, tauntingly asking after Poji as the battle raged on. Poji brushed off the concern, wanting only to focus all his might on seizing the orb. Alton clenched his fist, determined to claim the orb from Poji at any cost. Poji retaliated with a powerful kick, refusing to let Alton succeed in his plan. The leather whip was swung once more, Poji ready for a fiercer counterattack. Poji lashed out directly at Alton, forcing him to struggle and leap mid-air to evade the strike. Unable to hide his panic, Alton shouted, questioning Poji's way of handling the situation. A glint of determination flashed in Alton's eyes, everything around him seemed to slow down. Fully focused, Alton pointed his finger straight at the target, preparing to activate his skill. A surge of power began to envelop Alton, the air around him trembling with every breath he took. Energy gathered intensely, with Alton ready for the decisive counterstroke. Alton flashed a confident smile. It was time to get serious in this game. Alton darted forward, determined to unleash his true, full power. Sensing the shift, Poji immediately swung his whip to block, refusing to give Alton the chance to strike. Alton felt a flow of power, waiting for the perfect moment to explode. A blue aura enveloped Alton, and he shouted in excitement as he released his power. But at that very moment, Alton realized his rhythm was off and his plan had to be altered immediately. Disaster struck, Alton lost his footing and tumbled into the water to everyone's astonishment. Varian shook his head in exasperation, not forgetting to drop a sarcastic remark about Alton's timing. Poji laughed triumphantly, not missing the chance to capitalize on Alton's vulnerability. Poji swung his staff to create a violent water wave, pinning Alton into a corner. In a life-or-death moment, Alton quickly adjusted his umbrella, preparing for a counterstrike. Loud blast echoed as Alton activated the power from his umbrella, creating a massive shockwave. Alton panicked as he saw his target slip away, a desperate cry escaping his lips. The ball fell into the water, creating ripples that spread across the surface. Alton watched with regret. Just a little more time was all it would have taken to change everything. Right at that moment, Lee Jinho lunged forward, taking advantage of Alton's distraction to gain the upper hand. Lee Jinho made an impressive entrance, landing a precise kick to snatch the ball right in front of Alton. Poji was dumbfounded as he realized Lee Jinho's strategy, unable to believe he had been outplayed. Lee Jinho doesn't hesitate, unleashing his full power to end the match. With a powerful strike, Lee Jinho sends the ball straight into the ring, securing the final victory. The surrounding crowd erupts in joy, with cheers echoing throughout the entire area. Victory belongs to Asa and Alton, marking an incredibly unexpected result at the tournament. Fans swarm around to congratulate Lee Jinho, while Alton feels as though his spotlight has just been stolen. Alton vows to himself that there won't be any more mistakes next time, his eyes filled with determination. Alton and Poji exchange their final words as a solemn atmosphere blankets their important decision. After conveying everything he could, Poji offers a contented smile, satisfied with what he has left behind for Alton. Alton accepts the heavy responsibility, his eyes filled with resolve as he promises to protect those Poji entrusted to him. Suddenly, a dark killing intent rises, ghostly chains shake violently in the night. As the dark force surrounds them, Alton and Poji have yet to realize the danger creeping up right behind them. Sensing the danger, Poji immediately turns around with his eyes wide in alert vigilance. Before he can even react, a fatal slash tears through the air and blood splatters right before Alton's eyes. Shock is written all over Alton's face as he witnesses the horrific scene that just unfolded before Poji. A sense of despair wells up and Alton cries out in utter shock. Alton rushes forward, trying to cling to the fading breath of Poji as he slowly drifts away. Blood spills everywhere. Poji's life force is draining away amidst Alton's helplessness. A life like Poji's must end in such pain, leaving behind a profound sense of loss. Alton cannot believe his eyes. Sheer terror is visible as he faces the atrocity that just occurred. Darkness descends as Shitstain appears and coldly orders the theft of the treasure. Shitstain ruthlessly issues a threat, forcing Alton to comply if he wants to avoid further massacre. Amidst the blood-soaked battlefield, Asa stares in shock, hand over her mouth, while Alton brandishes his weapon, his eyes burning with lethal intent as he glares at Joki. Alton roars in fury, declaring that he will make Joki pay a heavy price for all the atrocities he has committed. Without hesitation, Alton lunges straight at Joki, his razor-sharp strikes tear through the air, clashing violently against Joki's weapon. A bewitching voice belonging to Sari echoes, mocking Alton's thirst for revenge as shadows begin to envelop him. But that dark power cannot stop Alton's advance, his blades continue to shine with unwavering determination. Alton channels his inner energy and flames erupt around his weapon, preparing to unleash a fatal blow. A terrifying energy explosion sweeps across the area, blasting everything away and leaving the scene in ruins. Amidst the tremors, innocent civilians scramble in panic, fleeing from the wave of destruction closing in on them. Asa screams Alton's name in desperation as she watches him get pulled into the dangerous vortex. Alton hurriedly reassures Asa, using the last of his strength to keep her calm amidst the chaos. Alton's gaze hardens. He knows they cannot face enemies as powerful as Joki and Sari in a direct confrontation. Joki and Sari erect a magical barrier, trapping everyone in a hopeless stalemate. Asa cannot hold back her tears, overwhelmed by a sense of helplessness when facing Joki's overwhelming power. Alton decisively orders Asa and the others to retreat immediately before the barrier closes completely. The group bolts, desperately trying to find a way to escape deep into the dense forest. Joki coldly demands to know the whereabouts of Tenjin, determined not to let anyone escape. Joki orders Sari to set up a barrier, determined to corner Alton and his group. With a twisted grin, Joki orders the slaughter of anyone who dares to stand in their way. Killing intent radiating from Joki makes the very air thicken, ensuring that no one can escape his pursuit. This is an advertisement segment. Deep in the forest, the group of Alton and Asa is still fleeing, terrified of Joki's ruthless pursuit. Suddenly, Asa stops dead in her tracks, her expression one of horror as she sees something gruesome right before her eyes. Before them lies a tragic scene. The festival guards have all been mercilessly slaughtered by Joki. Alton realizes in horror that they have been surrounded. Every escape route has been blocked off by Joki's soldiers. Group halts, fear etched onto their faces as they witness the bodies strewn across the ground. A soldier, still clinging to life, trembles in a pool of blood, desperately trying to reach out to Alton and Asa for help. The dying soldier struggles to utter a final warning, urging Alton and Asa to flee immediately. A bolt of blue energy from Sari's arrow flies in, finishing off the poor soldier in the blink of an eye. Sari appears with an arrogant smirk, clearly satisfied with the precision of her shot. Sari smirks from behind her mask, savoring the intense rush of thrill as her prey falls into her sights. She claims that she doesn't actually enjoy killing, but the feeling of taking down a target brings her an indescribable satisfaction. Although Joki always reminds her to show restraint, once she is given the go-ahead, Sari won't let anyone survive. Sensing the imminent danger, Asa immediately swings her protective umbrella and shouts for everyone to get behind her. Azure energy arrows tear through the air, flying with terrifying force directly at Asa and the others. Sari suddenly freezes in astonishment, as if something has defied her expectations. With lightning-fast reflexes, Asa activates her echo skill to reinforce the umbrella's defense, blocking Sari's attack. Asa's eyes blaze with determination. She vows that she will not let anyone else be sacrificed tonight. Asa urges Alton to flee quickly, while Sari stands there, observing with surprise at the girl's hidden talent. A chill runs down her spine. Sari now hungers to possess this promising prey at any cost. She continues to draw her bow, chasing Asa and Alton like a cat toying with defenseless chicks. Deadly rays of light rain down once again right at the heels of Asa and Alton, creating blinding explosions. Heart-wrenching screams echoed as two of their comrades behind were struck by arrows and collapsed into a pool of blood. Asa shrieked in despair as she witnessed her comrades sacrifice themselves right before her eyes, her own eyes beginning to flash with a strange light. Just as Asa was about to turn back to save them, a firm hand gripped her wrist tightly. It was Alton. He gritted his teeth, forcing Asa to keep running, because stopping now meant certain death for them all. Behind them, Sari strode forward leisurely, trampling over the corpses with an expressionless face, ignoring their desperate pleas. Once they were temporarily safe, Alton punched a tree trunk, venting his helplessness at having to abandon his comrades. He tried to convince Asa that they needed to reach the next village to find reinforcements, but she knew it was already too late. Alton pulled at his hair, screaming in agony at the truth that they had been completely powerless against the enemy. A heavy silence blanketed the two of them in the gloomy, ancient forest, each lost in their own heavy thoughts. Asa's eyes suddenly narrowed as she detected a bloodthirsty presence nearby. From within the bushes, Asa and Alton were shocked to see Tenjin with a cold, sharp blade pressed against his throat. The culprit was Joki, who radiated a brilliant red energy, forcing Tenjin to hand over the artifact to end the massacre. Tenjin collapsed, pleading that this object was just a useless piece of paper to someone like Joki, asking why they had to go to such lengths. Hiding behind the bushes, Alton couldn't believe his entire tribe had been slaughtered over a scrap of paper. Driven to the brink of rage, Asa ignored Alton's attempts to stop her and stood up abruptly, ready to face Joki. Images of the elders and innocent villagers lying in pools of blood flashed back, tearing at Asa's mind. Asa's eyes now held only extreme resentment, a silent declaration of war aimed directly at Joki. Alton tried to hold her back again, but Asa firmly brushed his hand away to decide the villain's fate herself. Unable to endure this injustice any longer, Asa erupted with intense spirit, ready to stand up and retaliate. Alton pondered for a moment before deciding to join Asa, standing united against the danger. Little did Joki know, his dark power was being threatened by a daring counterattack plan. The unexpected appearance of Asa and Alton left Joki startled, his confidence beginning to waver. Tenjin was stunned by the rapid turn of events. All of his calculations seemed to be upended in an instant. Asa launched a direct attack, the umbrella in her hand delivering a thunderous blow to Sari. Sari staggered backward. Asa's counterattack was so fast that Sari couldn't even react in time. Asa stomped her foot firmly on the ground, gaining momentum for another powerful strike. Joki roared in anger, swinging his dark fist with the intent to crush Asa. Asa spun around, using her agility to dodge and counterattack in a split second. Alton appeared just in time, blocking Joki's strike with a solid wall of blue energy. Joki's eyes widened in shock, unable to believe that Alton's power had surged so dramatically. A direct hit landed squarely on Joki's devil mask, leaving him stunned. Alton poured all his strength into the blow, forcefully throwing Joki to the ground. Tenjin gasped in shock, unable to comprehend what had just unfolded before his eyes. Dust billowed up, obscuring Joki and Sari's vision for a moment. Alton stood over the fallen Joki, his gaze cold and filled with the determination to protect his loved ones. Asa and Alton celebrated their initial victory. The perfect coordination between Alton and Asa had paid off. Asa hurried over to check on Alton, worried about whether Alton had been injured in the recent battle. The battlefield grew quiet, and Alton assured her that he was fine, despite Asa's concern. Tenjin realized the clever position swap by Asa and Alton, a perfect tactical deception. Asa's echo skill has been verified, leaving Tenjin struck with amazement. Tears welled up in Asa's eyes, yet they were now filled with hope of the future ahead. Alton explains the mechanics of the skill, noting how a combination of luck and calculation allowed him and Asa to turn the tide. Though still a bit apprehensive, Alton admits his absolute trust in Asa's ability to adapt. Tenjin couldn't believe his eyes. He still dared not believe that Asa and Alton had decided to confront them head-on. Asa responds with a confident smile, asserting her determination right in front of Tenjin. Standing side by side, Alton and Asa are ready for a real battle, no longer running away. Facing the thin line between life and death, Tenjin screams a warning that this is no game but a desperate struggle for survival. Tenjin clenches his fists, his eyes burning with determination. He refuses to back down when there is no one else left to protect this place. Alton firmly rejects Tenjin's attempt to stop him. He demands that Tenjin help him devise a plan, but first they must clarify why Haru is hunting Tenjin down. Haru's eyes flash with murderous intent, signaling that a terrifying strike is about to be unleashed. A brilliant surge of green energy tears through the space. Alton cries out in horror as he realizes Haru has begun his assault. The vicious attack strikes its mark. Haru smirks, mocking the weakness of both Alton and Tenjin. Alton and Tenjin immediately enter their combat stances. Blood has been shed, but they have nowhere left to retreat. Enveloped in a dark aura, Haru coldly commands his subordinates to hand over the item. Alton growls in fury, outraged by Haru's complete indifference toward the history of the Guardians. Sensing the looming danger, Alton trembles as he pulls out the item, dread consuming his mind. Unable to let the children remain in danger, Alton decides to hand over this fated artifact. In a split second, Tenjin lunges forward and snatches the item from Alton's grasp. Tenjin darts away like the wind, swearing not to let Haru win after the villains slaughtered her people. Tenjin taunts Haru to chase him. The group flees while Haru closes in right behind them. The sound of rapid footsteps echoes across the ground. The chase is becoming incredibly intense. Haru orders his subordinates to execute the plan, a sinister smile spreading across his face. Haru unleashes his technique, sending bizarre magic bubbles floating through the air before they explode violently. Tenjin and Alton are pushed back by the shockwaves of the explosions, overcome by a sudden sense of dizziness. Trapped by Haru's magic, Tenjin panics as he realizes they have walked into a trap. Alton attempts to activate a skill to break the barrier, but the surrounding space has already been locked down by Haru. The magic bubbles continue to hem them in, leaving Alton and Tenjin unable to find an escape route. A thunderous explosion erupts as the bubbles strike their target, thick smoke obscuring everything from sight. Tenjin collapses in agony, his weapon, the umbrella, suffering heavy damage. Alton is stunned by the terrifying destructive power. He realizes those bubbles are actually Haru's mobile bombs. The ground shakes violently after the explosion. Alton screams a warning to Tenjin about the danger right behind him. Alton shouts in desperation as Tenjin turns to face the incoming threat. Tenjin swings his umbrella, trying to fend off the attack with his remaining energy. Haru's dark energy arrows streak forward, colliding forcefully with Tenjin's weapon. Tenjin spins his umbrella, landing a precise strike on a hovering orb of energy. The tip of the umbrella glides through the air, creating a swirling vortex of azure energy. Haru is startled to realize his protective bubble has vanished. Alton takes a defensive stance with his sword in hand, surrounded by a swarm of energy bubbles closing in. Alton gasps in horror as he watches the bubbles burst simultaneously. The pressure from the explosion forces Alton to his knees, his sword snapping in two. A heavy impact strikes the ground, sending dust flying as Alton collapses in shock. Tenjin rushes over in a panic, shouting Alton's name as he sees his broken sword. Alton gasps for air in Tenjin's arms, struggling to utter his final apology. Tenjin's eyes widen in horror at the sight of Alton's condition. Without missing a beat, sharp attacks rain down relentlessly around Tenjin. Haru rushes forward at terrifying speed, unleashing a brutal strike. Tenjin hurriedly pulls Alton away, escaping from Haru's relentless barrage of attacks. Tenjin's eyes flare with intensity as she realizes Haru's sinister scheme. Haru kneels, engulfed in a terrifying crimson aura, continuing to manipulate the battlefield. Livid, Tenjin swings her arm, determined to launch a counterattack. Tenjin clenches her fist, bracing herself for a lethal strike. Tenjin hurls a weapon fragment toward Haru, her gaze burning with fierce resolve. Haru lets out a roar, lunging forward with the intent to claim everything. Tenjin channels all her strength into her umbrella, smashing it down onto her target. A surge of energy erupts, causing the ground to tremble violently. The explosion expands, obliterating everything in its path. Alton screams in desperation as he witnesses the chaotic scene. Tenjin is pulled into a bizarre space, falling freely through the cosmos. Lost in the void, Tenjin tries in vain to call out Alton's name. Tenjin panics, having no idea where she is drifting. Strange voices begin to echo within Tenjin's mind. Tenjin is swept into a massive energy vortex. Bizarre memories come flooding back, leaving Tenjin dizzy and disoriented. Tenjin struggles to hold onto her umbrella, bracing for the next spatial jump. Amidst the fluctuating space, Alton shouts in despair upon seeing Tenjin's perilous situation. Tenjin snaps back to reality, her bruised face filled with bewilderment as she sees Alton is still there, her weapon umbrella dropped in the grass. Alton lunges forward, struggling to maintain their formation against Haru's closing advance. Haru roars in fury, dark red energy surging around him as he vows to destroy anyone who stands in his way. Tenjin doesn't hesitate, she draws her bow, magical energy blazing from her umbrella as she prepares the finishing blow. A blinding light erupts and Alton and Tenjin brace themselves against the terrifying pressure. Tenjin grits her teeth, pouring every ounce of her will into the compressed energy arrow. A flurry of green light streaks out, tearing through the heavy atmosphere. Serpentine magical streams bolt forward like drills, slamming into the target. Serpentine magical entity gapes its maw, ready to devour everything in its path. Tenjin's eyes widen, her absolute focus makes the world around her seem to slow down. Alton realizes Tenjin is too focused on her target and has left her defenses wide open. Tenjin is completely oblivious to the danger closing in from behind. Alton reaches out, desperately trying to pull Tenjin out of the danger zone in the nick of time. A wave of evil energy tears through the air from Haru's direction, leaving sharp, lethal lacerations in its wake. The fatal strike grazes past. Alton unexpectedly takes the full force of the attack in Tenjin's stead. Blood sprays as Alton collapses, while the dark electrical energy from Haru continues to ravage his body. Alton gasps for air, blood spilling from the corner of his mouth as his consciousness begins to fade. Darkness envelopes his vision, and everything around him sinks into the void. Alton offers a weak, strained smile, his gaze losing its focus. Alton's body slumps to the ground, a pool of blood spreading beneath him. The umbrella falls to the ground as Alton lies motionless in the blood-soaked battlefield. Tenjin was struck with horror, her desperate call for Alton choking in her throat. Sung Jinwoo lunged forward, grabbing Tenjin and dragging her away from the danger zone in a blur of motion. Haru roared in fury, ordering his minions to hunt them down at all costs. Tenjin glanced back at the spot where Alton lay, engulfed in a pool of crimson blood. Tenjin and Sung Jinwoo sprinted desperately toward the cliffside, reaching a dead end. A massive, deafening explosion erupted behind them, sending everything flying. In the shadows, a mysterious masked figure emerged, quietly observing the carnage. From the darkness, Haru appeared with a sinister gaze, his eyes glowing intensely as he tracked every movement. Alton narrowed his eyes, a cold, sharp glint sparking as he realized there was a slim chance of survival amidst the encirclement. Without hesitation, Alton launched himself forward, stomping hard onto the ground and sending cracked spider webbing beneath his feet. A violent blast erupted, dust and debris clouded the air, forcing Tenjin to shield herself with her arms. Alton and Tenjin dashed through the smoke and dust, struggling to escape the epicenter of the explosion. Pair collapsed onto the sandy beach, the rhythmic crashing of the waves echoing as if to wash away the recent tension. Alton panted heavily, his voice trembling as he assured Tenjin that they were safe enough to stop. Alton reached out a scarred hand toward Tenjin, anxiously checking on her condition. Tenjin collapsed, tears welling in her eyes as uncontrollable sobs began to break out. Tenjin gripped the sand with both hands, trying to suppress the overwhelming agony crushing her heart. Memories flooded back, the poignant image of a young Alton and Tenjin holding hands, running through a vibrant field of flowers. Tenjin's tiny hand clasped Alton's, an unbreakable bond formed in their childhood. Even as tears streamed down her face, Alton flashed an innocent smile, trying to comfort Tenjin by saying he was okay. Alton opened his arms wide, inviting Tenjin to share a simple moment of joy amidst the flower field. But the cruel reality struck. Alton collapsed, struck by a fatal wound, fresh blood staining his clothes red. In the flashback, Alton and Tenjin sat together, watching lines of tiny ants crawl by, enjoying a brief moment of peace. Back in reality, Alton gasped for air, his breathing weakening as blood continued to seep from his mouth. Tenjin knelt beside him in shock, watching Alton's body slowly grow cold on the blood-soaked ground. A withered leaf drifted through the air, symbolizing a life that had just flickered out. Tenjin's agonizing scream shattered the silence, her tears flowing without end. Boos and jeers filled the entire arena as the losers were mercilessly thrown out. Han Jihan stood with his arms crossed, his face hardening with frustration at the chaotic scene. Yellowy and her teammates could not hide their rage. They were determined to teach the mastermind behind this spectacle a lesson they would never forget. Suddenly, from high above, Lao Chen swung down like a monkey, slicing through the air at breakneck speed. Lao Chen hovered right in front of Yellowy, his gaze hidden behind the red monkey mask, brimming with mockery. Lao Chen's sarcastic congratulations caught Yellowy off guard, and the tension spiked in an instant. Lao Chen swung his body in a mid-air rotation, his sudden attack forcing both Yellowy and her teammates to step back and dodge. With an effortless demeanor, Lao Chen clung to his rope, beginning to manipulate the game. Lao Chen chuckled. He was searching for new pawns to fill the empty spots in this brutal game. Meanwhile, down at the docks, a group of people looked out at the sea, wondering if they could ever escape this death trap. Lao Chen continued his provocations, aiming directly at Yellowy's short temper. Lao Chen voiced a mocking eulogy, welcoming the trio of new players into the arena. Lao Chen seemed to be relishing the chaos, constantly dropping cryptic and taunting remarks. Lao Chen moved incessantly, mocking the abilities of Yellowy and her team, forcing them to fight for survival. Lao Chen waved with arrogant flair, as if victory were already firmly in his grasp. Yellowy lost her patience with Lao Chen's antics while he continued the dramatic game of cat and mouse. Lao Chen kept a smile on his mask, urging Yellowy to move toward the prize. Yellowy couldn't take it anymore and shouted directly at the man bothering her. Tenjin appeared hesitant. He didn't want to get involved in these unnecessary battles. Yellowy reassured Tenjin, affirming that he would be kept safe. Yellowy just needed Tenjin to accompany them. He wouldn't need to lift a finger. Lao Chen refused to let up, continuing to stir the atmosphere and forcing them to start the match. Yellowy pleaded with Tenjin, using every means to convince him to join her. Tenjin sighed, finally yielding to Yellowy's persistence. Yellowy cheered in excitement. She had finally secured Tenjin's agreement. The arena lit up, and the roaring of the crowd began to engulf the space. Kuri complained about the heat while the others prepared for the coming confrontation. The battle officially began. A choice had been made. Yellowy confidently challenged her opponent, declaring she would end the fight before Tenjin even realized it. Yellowy asked Kuri in a murderous tone if he was ready, while Kuri calmly sipped his drink. Just as Tenjin tried to remind them of teamwork, Yellowy had already lunged forward at blinding speed. Yellowy rushed to attack Kuri with terrifying speed, not forgetting to mock him for ignoring her. A massive collision occurred as Yellowy struck Kuri, creating a tremor that shook the entire arena floor. Yellowy was stunned to see Kuri still standing firm after her full-force attack. Yellowy quickly regained her stance, preparing for the next wave of attack. Kuri maintained his calm expression, tapping his fingers as if he weren't bothered by Yellowy in the slightest. Yellowy roared with determination, rushing straight at Kuri to begin the real fight. Kuri activated his energy, and the prayer beads in his hand began to emit a mysterious glow. Kuri wore a knowing smile, revealing the confidence of a veteran on the battlefield. Icy energy exploded around Kuri, creating an overwhelmingly oppressive zone. Yellowy can feel the suffocating pressure of Kuri's energy aura closing in on her. Wave after wave of energy slams into Yellowy, forcing her into a desperate struggle to hold her ground. Mustering every ounce of her strength, Yellowy launches a counterattack into the space Kuri has frozen. The collision triggers a massive explosion, leaving Yellowy and Kuri locked in a fierce standoff amidst the swirling dust. Suddenly, Cho appears, moving with fluid agility to support Yellowy as the battle reaches its climax. Caught off guard by Chao's unexpected interference, Yellowy's face flushes red with sheer irritation. Cho grins mischievously, popping up right in front of Yellowy as if they were playing a game of hide-and-seek. Enraged, Yellowy snaps at Cho, calling the brat out for his insolence and daring to tease her. Kuri continues with a chilling provocation, daring Yellowy to face the harsh reality of the situation. Kuri closes the distance, using icy energy to mock Yellowy, escalating the tension to a breaking point. Shivering from the cold, Yellowy can no longer stand Kuri's arrogance and screams out in annoyance. Kuri remains nonchalant, sipping his drink while belittling Yellowy for her weakness and exhaustion. Yellowy roars in fury, declaring that no one cares about any of Kuri's nonsense. A powerful clash ensues, sending Yellowy reeling back while Kuri maintains his firm, unshakable stance. Kuri continues to manipulate the flow of energy, forcing Yellowy into a completely passive position. Yellowy throws a punch directly into the icy energy current, determined to shatter Kuri's suppression. Yellowy jumps in shock from the bone-chilling cold, while Kuri calmly tells her to keep her cool. Sudden, violent impact sends Yellowy flying backward, a sharp cry of pain escaping her lips. Yellowy and the mechanic are at each other's throats, both visibly livid after being sabotaged by one another. Joe casually pats Yellowy on the head, causing her to snap and unleash a heavy hitting punch in retaliation. The mechanic issues a warning about the dangerous magical artifact in her possession, a device that could explode at any moment. The mechanic looks sheepish while Yellowy stares in horror at the gravity of the threat. The mechanic proudly shows off her childhood masterpiece, a special containment jar. Holding the jar aloft, the mechanic admits its one flaw, that the lid sometimes gets jammed tight. While the mechanic is distracted, Kuri is suddenly attacked by spectral gusts of energy. Tenjin is shell-shocked to learn the mechanic used that item on someone else while the mechanic shyly covers her face. Kuri skillfully evades the magical strikes, weaving through the purple currents with ease. Yellowy is disgusted by the pungent, foul stench emanating from Kuri's magical attack. Yellowy can't believe her eyes as she watches Kuri move at impossible speeds, wondering if his bones are made of jelly. Cho suddenly appears and claps his hands in midair, making Yellowy jump in surprise. An invisible shockwave slams down, leaving a deep fracture in the ground below. Kuri unleashes an icy barrage, cornering Yellowy and asserting that he is the one who commands the cold. Yellowy screams in agony as the frigid vapor envelopes her features contorting in pain. Kuri stands unfazed, surrounded by a surging, potent aura of icy energy. Yellowy realizes with growing panic that Kuri's presence is becoming colder than ever before. Watching Kuri closely, Yellowy notices that every rhythm he creates causes the temperature to plummet further. Yellowy decides to grab her umbrella, bracing herself for a desperate, decisive counterstrike. Yellowy lunges forward, cloaked in magic, launching a relentless assault against Kuri. Kuri parries the blows effortlessly, his expression remaining as calm as if nothing were happening. Yellowy and Kuri are both stunned by this absurd level of power, with Yellowy wondering if it's just completely broken. Yellowy refuses to give up, charging forward with a gaze filled with determination. Cho reaches out, unleashing a mysterious technique that makes the surrounding space tremble. A thunderous clap echoes, signaling the launch of a direct assault. Yellowy shouts at Cho, calling him an annoying brat for his mischievous pranks. Tenjin appears, warning Cho that if he continues down this path he will end up hating himself. Yellowy exclaims, praising Tenjin for his brilliant counterattack. Yellowy stares into the void, her eyes hardening as she prepares her next move. Yellowy collapses to the floor, feeling as if her entire life force is being drained by strange entities. While Yellowy is exhausted, Tenjin scrambles to escape from the pursuit of the ghostly orbs. The mechanic quickly realizes the source of this weakening, pointing directly at Yellowy to warn her about the dangerous contact points. The energy orbs are moving eerily, the mechanic is determined to seize them before Cho can act. The mechanic tries to grab an orb, but everything seems like a mere illusion, leaving her completely baffled. Shifting her target, the mechanic immediately rushes to chase down Cho to stop him. Powerful collision occurs, the mechanic succeeds in blocking Cho in his tracks. A strange clock appears in mid-air, spinning eerily and menacingly. The mechanic triumphantly holds up the clock, explaining its dangerous energy-draining mechanism. The mechanic's face reveals pure excitement now that her favored weapon has been activated. However, the mechanic suddenly notices a flaw in her design and cannot help but feel regret. Yellowy observes the situation with a cold gaze, bracing herself for the next reaction. Kuri suddenly unleashes a powerful strike, sending Yellowy flying and tumbling across the floor. Cho quickly snatches the incoming energy orb. Cho's hand tightens around the energy source, triggering the power hidden within. Cho wears a mischievous grin, having gained control of the orb and ready for his next set of pranks. Kuri stands by, calmly observing and warning that Cho's luck is about to run out. Kuri coldly utters a sarcastic remark, preparing to unleash his icy ultimate technique. Cho turns his back, fully confident in his ability to easily overcome the challenges ahead. Cho gives a military salute, challenging his opponent with a look of pure smugness. Tenjin meticulously analyzes the enemy's tactics, realizing the true intent behind their distracting maneuvers. Tenjin exposes Cho's scheme, pointing out that everything was just a ruse to facilitate the theft of energy. Tenjin realizes that attempting to stop Cho has inadvertently accelerated the activation of his abilities. Kuri and his accomplices watch on, concerned about the consequences if Cho succeeds in securing the target. Kuri stares intently at the glass in his hand, his eyes filled with contemplation and caution. Tenjin, Yellowy, and the mechanic are trapped in a block of ice, facing the enemy's authoritative declaration. Frost covers the space as Ice Lad declares his absolute control over the territory. Ice Lad remains unfazed. He calmly holds his glass of water and challenges his opponent to prepare for his upcoming attack. The male character analyzes the situation for Asa, asserting that the opponent cannot inflict damage and that they must focus on eliminating the primary target to level the playing field. Dancing Grandpa scoffs at the chatter. He has no time for idle talk and immediately activates his ice powers. Ice Lad channels his inner energy, with currents of freezing air swirling around his body in preparation for a wide area attack. A loud explosion rings out as Ice Lad unleashes his freezing strike, forcing Asa and Bay to struggle to dodge the incoming damage. The male character shouts a warning, and Asa is startled to realize that Dancing Grandpa has closed the distance from her left side. Dancing Grandpa launches a surprise attack, forcing Asa to retreat in the nick of time. Asa's eyes widen in shock as she senses the imminent danger. Cold sweat beads on Asa's face. The pressure of the battle is weighing heavily on her shoulders. Asa executes a backflip to evade Dancing Grandpa's attack while searching for an opening to counter. Asa grinds her teeth in anger, deeply frustrated by her opponent's abilities. The male character is panicked to see the tide of the battle shift so drastically. Tan Van dashes forward at high speed, only to realize in shock that he has fallen into the opponent's trap. Bay acts quickly, directing her device straight at the hidden enemy. A blast of energy erupts, shattering the surrounding space. Bay raises her hand, light radiating from her gauntlet as she seeks an opportunity to turn the tide. Bay grabs her secret weapon, having found the key to regaining the advantage. Bay activates the device, a confident smile appearing on her face as she prepares to unleash her move. Bay recalls the past when she first built this item as a child, even though it didn't work very well back then. Bay explains the device's weakness, but she has already found the perfect fix for it. Bay presses the activation button and the device responds instantly with a crimson stream of energy. Bay confidently claims that she added a special feature to resolve any potential issues. The enemy blast mode is activated and Bay launches a powerful gust of wind toward the opponent. The wind sweeps away all obstacles, leaving the opponent defenseless against this terrifying power. Dancing Grandpa tries to move out of the wind's influence, but he is still caught in the aftermath. A deafening impact occurs as the target is sent flying. Ice Lad is hit directly and sent flying, to the astonishment of his teammates. The opponent screams in pain after being struck by Bay's attack, concluding an impressive counteroffensive. The sudden collision leaves Asa stunned, and she shrieks in disgust at something clinging to her. Bay laughs gleefully, triumphant to see that Asa has grabbed the very same old item she had lost 10 years ago. Unable to keep her cool, Asa shouts, demanding that Bay stop immediately because of the unbearable filth. The male character observes the intense battle and realizes that Tan Van's attacks were merely a calculated distraction. Ice Lad remains calm, holding his glass of water. Hidden behind his playful exterior is a power source steadily building up with every rap beat he drops. Dancing Grandpa intervenes skillfully, his movements blocking every counterattack and creating an opening for his teammate to strike. The seamless coordination between Dancing Grandpa and Ice Lad shows that all their actions until now were aimed at waiting for the perfect moment. The male character recognizes the opponent's strategy, believing that Tan Van is the trump card that will decide the outcome of the battle. Amidst the chaotic gunfire, the question of Tan Van's power mechanism forces the male character to urgently find the answer before it's too late. Bay shows no mercy, firing continuously to force Asa into a difficult spot before things spiral out of control. Tan Van rushes in at extreme speed, anxious as he realizes he cannot close the distance before Bay achieves her goal. Tan Van closed his eyes tightly, focusing all his senses to find an escape route in this life-or-death situation. Energy pulsed around Tan Van, but he realized none of the flows were fast enough to rescue his teammates in time. A sense of deadlock clouded Tan Van's mind. He kept asking himself what he needed to do next to turn the tables. Ice Lad revealed his contempt, retorting to those who underestimated him with the chilling aura of one born from the darkest of places. Despite the harsh circumstances, Ice Lad asserted his strength, standing firm even as he was battered by the storm. In the pouring rain, Ice Lad silently watched the figure of Tan Van waiting ahead, preparing for a decisive blow. Amidst the brutal struggle for survival, Ice Lad remained steadfast in his goal, despite all the difficulties surrounding him. Ice Lad put all his faith into this final gamble, challenging Tan Van to see if he dared to face his recklessness. Ice Lad's gaze turned icy cold as a source of freezing power began to erupt around his body. Ice Lad waved his hand, his shout of freeze echoing like a cold, final verdict. Frost spread violently as Ice Lad summoned razor-sharp ice shards to engulf the entire surrounding space. Bay was shocked by the sudden attack. She couldn't believe that Ice Lad possessed such terrifying power. Dancing Grandpa and Ice Lad coordinated their movements, the collision of their ice blocks creating a powerful shockwave that pushed Bay back. Bay was knocked backward, completely losing control under the immense pressure of the opponent's attack. The male character shouted, reminding Ice Lad that he must memorize this crucial lesson immediately. The energy flows resonated powerfully, with magical light streams pulling toward each other like colliding stars in space. Tan Van observed that Ice Lad's power was absorbing every surrounding energy current, creating a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Seeing a glimmer of hope, Tan Van immediately seized the moment, launching a decisive attack with all his remaining strength. Asa was surrounded by a dark energy current, and an electric shock erupted right at her position. The chaos from the energy flows was accelerating out of control. Asa wavered, while the opponent's position remained dangerously unpredictable. The energy currents were becoming more chaotic than ever. The current situation was impossible to predict. Asa stomped hard on a strange object. She needed to block her opponent to buy time before it was too late. With just a moment of carelessness, Asa tripped and fell. She realized the opponent would reach the target before she could intervene. The fall completely threw Asa off balance. She lay sprawled on the ground, panic clearly visible on her face. In this dire moment, Asa made a bold decision. She used her pen to mark the bottle, a high-risk gamble. A twisted smile blossomed on her lips as Asa decided to play a reckless game. Laughter echoed as Asa prepared for a wild move. With no way out, Asa poured all her might into preparing a counterattack. A powerful impact exploded as Asa confronted her opponent head-on. Dancing Grandpa and Ice Lad watched from afar, not even taking Asa's attacks seriously. The clashing power created cracks within the space itself. Blinding light erupted, and an energy blast swept through everything in the vicinity. Ice Lad was stunned by the unexpected power of Asa's strike. Asa lunged forward with terrifying speed, covered in a wave of azure energy. Asa leaped into the air, swinging a strike that tore through the atmosphere. Ice Lad immediately erected an ice barrier, blocking Asa's blade. Shattered ice fragments flew everywhere under the immense pressure. Ice Lad gritted his teeth, pouring all his strength into holding his defense. Asa landed with confidence, smirking as she watched her struggling opponent. Asa's eyes flashed with a murderous glint. Bay suddenly appeared, grabbing Asa's leg tightly and causing her to lose her balance. Bay wore a mischievous smile. She had finally caught her sixth target. Bay landed a vicious kick, sending Asa flying in an instant. Asa twisted her body in mid-air, desperately attempting a counterattack. A bell rang, and Asa clutched her head in pain as she was completely subdued. A flurry of heavy attacks rained down. Asa was unable to fend them off. Asa realized in despair that she had been driven into a corner. Surrounded by overwhelming pressure, Ice Lad braced himself against the powerful assault. He knew that if this continued, he wouldn't be able to hold on much longer. In the nick of time, they rushed in to rescue Asa. A strange, pungent odor suddenly filled the air, leaving them both puzzled. Asa was left in shock, unable to comprehend what was happening. The events unfolded so rapidly that she couldn't even regain her composure. They remained unfazed, launching her salty lemonade technique at the opponent, creating an unexpected, swirling barrage of attacks. A thick, blinding cloud of smoke erupted on the spot. The pungent smell of ammonia left the entire battlefield reeling. They laughed mischievously, explaining that the ingredients had likely fermented too long and turned into gas-emitting smelling salts. Asa was speechless, swearing never to touch Bay's drinks again. Dancing Grandpa rushed over and hugged them both, breathing a sigh of relief to see that Asa and Bay were safe. Dancing Grandpa spoke with a grave warning. Time was running out. He analyzed that the opponent possessed a high-level camouflage ability, but it would deactivate the moment they touched an object. That was precisely why the opponent had to materialize right before grabbing Asa. Dancing Grandpa pointed out the enemy's weakness. Dancing Grandpa continued his analysis, noting that if the opponent could upgrade their abilities just by touching Asa, they would have landed 7 fatal blows long ago. The opponent certainly had a hidden activation condition that no one knew about. Dancing Grandpa asserted that as long as Asa and Bay stayed alert and supported each other, the enemy wouldn't be able to reach the next stage. Dancing Grandpa mapped out a strategy. The priority must be to eliminate the opponent first, as they could not withstand a direct, coordinated attack from both of them. Dancing Grandpa emphasized that teamwork is the key to overcoming individual limitations. Asa and Bay understood their mission. They needed to become a more synchronized team to face the challenges ahead. Asa challenged Bay, asking if she could keep up with her. Bay responded confidently, asserting that her toys were meant for adults only. He gave a dangerous smile, declaring she was ready for the game and warning that she didn't hold back in a fight. Dancing Grandpa clapped his hands in response, the sound echoing like the start of a declaration of war. Without further delay, they joined hands in determination, ready for the decisive battle. A hand clenched tightly in tension, a dark omen of a horrific incident about to unfold. Asa was horrified to realize the haunting presence of the opponent right behind her. Together, they shouted their resolve to fight. Tensions escalate as Asa signals her teammates to prepare for action. Sinister, spectral entities emerge with malevolent grins. A sudden, devastating strike catches Tenjin, pulling him into a razor-sharp vortex. Red Aura triumphantly declares that he has easily stolen Tenjin's echo. Red Aura arrogantly boasts about his masterful combat prowess. Flashbacks of Red Aura's impoverished past surface serving as a testament to his harsh survival instincts. Red Aura's gaze locks onto Asa's group standing in the middle of the battlefield. The images of Kuri and Asa appear within Red Aura's sights. Darkness envelopes the surrounding area. A bloodthirsty grin spreads across Red Aura's face. A wind-tearing strike from Red Aura surges straight toward the target. Asa watches in astonishment as Red Aura's powerful attack descends. The impact creates a powerful tremor across the battlefield. Red Aura executes a skillful rolling technique to dodge the incoming counter. Kuri's eyes reveal clear shock at Red Aura's terrifying speed. Asa struggles amidst the thick, billowing dust and smoke. Tenjin lies collapsed on the ground after Red Aura's fatal blow. Kuri cannot believe his eyes as he sees Tenjin taken down so quickly. Kuri exclaims in disbelief at the sheer speed of Red Aura. Tenjin screams out, warning Asa of the imminent danger. A decisive step from Red Aura triggers the trap device. A purple smoke explosion engulfs the entire area. Asa swings her arm to break free from the restraint within the smoke. Asa's hand reaches out through the hazy mist. Asa is determined to seize this brief window of opportunity to launch a counterattack. Asa warns of the limited visibility within the smokescreen. Asa notices a strange scent in the air, reminiscent of mustard. Asa guesses that it's the smell of the mountain fish volcano sauce she used to brew. Asa places her faith in the friendship bracelets that Tenjin brought for them. Asa questions the purpose of these bracelets as they are meant to be a bond connecting friends until the three of them reunite. Asa excitedly explains that close friends who are separated must endure continuous, painful shocks until they are reunited. Asa outlines a plan to lure Tenjin into the purple mist where she can use the bracelet to trap him. Asa remains unsure about the mechanics of how this plan will function within the fog. Asa confidently asserts that this mist will balance the playing field, allowing her to neutralize Tenjin easily. Asa turns around fiercely, preparing for a coordinated strike to take down Tenjin. Asa proudly holds up her gloves, claiming them to be her secret weapon to turn the tide. Asa boasts about crafting these gloves with her own hands back when she was wandering the streets. However, Asa also confesses the ironic truth that these gloves actually absorb heat, leaving the wearer's hands colder. Asa blankly wonders how making her hands cold could possibly help her defeat Tenjin. Asa laughs aloud while recounting a story about another wanderer who accidentally set himself on fire while wearing them. Asa explains that the gloves will emit intense heat once the user activates their special ability. Asa outlines the combat plan step by step, from creating a distraction to trapping Tenjin. Asa finalizes the last step to take down Tenjin directly, but she freezes in shock the moment she realizes Kuri is present. Asa exclaims in astonishment as she sees her plan instantly ruined by Kuri's arrival. A sudden impact occurs and Kuri stomps his feet hard onto the ground. Kuri and his teammates launch a surprise attack, striking a heavy blow against Asa's weapon. Asa screams in pain as the force of Kuri's attack proves too overwhelming. A lightning-fast slap is delivered by Asa, striking Kuri directly. Kuri reacts quickly, swirling currents of black magic pushing Asa far away. A blast of magical energy erupts, engulfing Kuri. Kuri assesses the situation, his expression full of vigilance against the power just unleashed. Magical power surges and swirls, enveloping the surrounding space. Asa suddenly grabs Tenjin's hand, calling it an unexpected friendship. Tenjin stares in confusion at the bracelet just placed on his wrist, unable to understand what is happening. Asa challenges Tenjin to chase her into the thick, dense fog. Tenjin is extremely furious, feeling the dead-end trap within the mist. Asa whispers to herself that everything would be boring if the plan went too smoothly. Asa stands face to face with Kuri, ready for a head-on confrontation. Without hesitation, Asa charges forward, determined to end the battle. The space trembles violently as Kuri unleashes his move, with vibrant purple magic sweeping across the battlefield. Kuri seems to manipulate space itself, trapping Asa within haunting magical fissures. With an expert demeanor, Kuri lands a decisive blow, giving Asa no chance to retaliate. Kuri's powerful stomp cracks the ground, pinning Asa firmly to the floor. Asa's face reveals sheer shock at being completely suppressed by Kuri's superior strength. Without stopping, Kuri unleashes a direct punch, driving Asa into a corner. Kuri smirks, the confidence of someone in control visible behind his sunglasses. Asa struggles to dodge, but Kuri continues to press in with powerful strikes. A single swipe of Kuri's hand creates a razor-sharp gust of wind tearing through the air. In the decisive moment, Kuri strikes and successfully captures Asa. Kuri completely subdues Asa, mocking her naivety for falling into the trap he had laid out. Kuri coldly issues an order, forcing Asa to abandon all futile attempts at resistance. Unexpectedly, Tenjin appears, shifting the tides of the battle in an instant. Asa exploits the opening to land a counterattack on Corey's weak point. The direct hit leaves Corey stunned. He never expected Asa to turn the tables so quickly. Corey quickly regains control of the fight, unleashing a powerful kick infused with magic. A burst of magic erupts, sending Asa flying back into a cloud of thick smoke. Asa staggers to her feet, her gaze remaining undeterred by the previous attack. Tenjin continues to provoke her, promising a bloody spectacle to come. Tenjin digs deep into her fear, asserting that Asa's companion is in grave danger. Tenjin's cold threat echoes, making the air thick with tension. Asa whipped around, her face tightening with concern for her teammates. Asa swung her weapon, unleashing a fierce slash to break through the encirclement. Tenjin's mockery about the bracelet echoed, serving as a bitter reminder of Asa's disadvantage. Tenjin's critical blow landed straight on Asa's shoulder, leaving her in agonizing pain. The pain didn't bring Asa down. She continued to search for an escape route. Asa realized Tenjin's presence, a partner in this deadly dance. A cruel invitation was extended, and Asa had no choice but to face Tenjin head-on. Asa cursed in frustration as she unleashed her ultimate move to clear the obstacles. Asa's eyes burned with determination. The real battle was only just beginning. Asa braced herself, her mind suddenly echoing Tenjin's 27th lesson on how to cope when a plan falls apart. Cunning smile spread across Asa's face as she recalled Tenjin's advice on what to do when things don't go as expected. Without hesitation, Asa took action, waving her hand to incinerate everything to ashes and preparing to deliver the decisive blow to Red Aura. Red Aura appeared with glowing blue eyes, his body enveloped in menacing, razor-sharp energy ribbons. Red Aura seemed to have lost his patience. He roared with murderous intent, declaring that he wouldn't wait any longer. A burst of fury erupted from Red Aura as his energy ribbons swirled violently to form a fierce vortex of attack. Asa bolted forward like a lightning bolt, determined to launch a counterattack against the maddened Red Aura. With terrifying speed, Asa closed the distance and unleashed a lightning-fast strike at Red Aura, tearing through the air. A head-on collision erupted, the sheer power of Asa's fist slamming directly into Red Aura. Asa landed firmly, her feet gripping the floor after the powerful clash with Red Aura. Asa smirked in triumph, exclaiming with excitement as she realized Corey's warning about this freezing cold was spot on. But immediately after, Asa was shocked to realize that Red Aura's energy ribbons hadn't been defeated but were instead coiling tightly around her. Red Aura laughed loudly, complimenting Asa's strike while still trapping her within his deadly energy ribbons. Energy sparks flared as Red Aura began to accelerate his attacks, causing the space around them to tremble. Red Aura's energy vortex grew increasingly violent, with sharp slashes constantly tearing through the air. Red Aura didn't waver, he continued to channel his power, ready for the final, lethal blow aimed at Asa.